TruthSeekah and/or its affiliates are not responsible for any strange phenomena that may occur during or after listening to this podcast, which may include the following: heightened senses of awareness, psychic abilities, UFO sightings, alien contact, time loss, out-of-body experiences, ringing in the ears, ESP, lucid dreaming, increased synchronicities, astral projection, telepathy, stronger intuition, levitation, miraculous healings, and/or remote viewing. Please be advised to listen at your own discretion.
Won't you come and take me away? I just wanna be with you. Won't you come and take me away? To a place to walk on troubled seas, faith to stand when I don't believe. I just wanna be with you. Won't you come and take me away? I just wanna be with you. Won't you come?
You are now locked into the TruthSeekah podcast.
Gargoyles! Psychics! Everything's ungodly! Dark's at it!
Streaming live at TruthSeekah.com.
She's not a Christian!
Give it up, y'all.
Your portal to the paranormal, esoteric, and all things spiritual.
She's tampering in Dark's at it stuff!
And now, your host, TruthSeekah.
Just kidding, it's me. Hey everybody, I'm Arien Spirit Wolf. I'm married to TruthSeekah, and today is August 10th, 2018, and it's been 1 year since he's been able to do this full time. And he's going to have me on the podcast today to talk for a little bit. And I just want to start out by thanking all of the patrons, everyone who supports the podcast, who supports the music. We could not do this without you. You've really given him his wings and allowed him to fly into his true purpose in life. And I'm just so grateful. So I want to start out by specifically thanking our newest patrons, Kylie Ween, Melissa Godet, Mintaka, Crystal Gann, and Jill Tragno. Forgive me if I pronounced it wrong, but those people are our newest patrons and newest supporters, and we just want to thank you so much. I'd also like to give a special shout out to Adam Brink, who supports us at a higher level and has been a supporter for a while now, and I am done.
Yes, that's the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, TruthSeekah Podcast. Excited and delighted again to be with you guys. Shout out to everybody holding us down in the chat, listening live, chatting it up. Shout out to everybody in Discord and everybody listening to this on all the podcasting apps as well. Again, like you said, thank you guys for all the continued support via Patreon. Like, that's the best way to support the work. If you'd like to do that, head on over to patreon.com/TruthSeekah. You get access to my entire discography, Thursday Night School of the Mystics, and a whole bunch of other cool stuff. And like she said, today is like the 1 year anniversary of being let go from my job. I was a truck driver for 10 plus years and got let go a year ago. And essentially it's one of the best things that ever happened to me. We all have a dream or a vision that we want to pursue, but complacency, knowing, like, having a secure place where you're going to get your income from and stuff like that, that holds people back a lot. So sometimes we kind of have that fear to just jump out there and pursue our dreams and what we want to create in life, but sometimes we got to be pushed out there. So that's kind of what happened, and I want to talk a little bit about that today, and we're going to hear it from Arien's perspective. Like she said, she's my beautiful wife, and she's been here with me the whole process, and couldn't have done it without her, definitely. So with that being said, if you'd like to support, patreon.com/TruthSeekah. If anybody has any questions while we're live, just go ahead and drop those in the chat, and we'll try to get those read out as well. So I guess there's a lot to talk about. I've been talking about this stuff for a while, but where was I mentally, in your opinion, 1 year ago.
Like before the bomb got dropped on us?
Yeah, like right before this job, dreams, all
You
of
were
it.
in a bad place, a dark place. You are not the same person that I had known years before. You got so worn down from that job, from working such long hours, from getting 2 to 3 hours of sleep a night. You were almost like a zombie. And I could tell that you were just not enjoying your life anymore. But you were doing what you felt you had to do to support us. And even a few months before you were let go from your job, I remember I felt God was telling me something in my spirit that something big is going to change and you guys have to get ready for it. So I am grateful. We didn't know what the change would be, but I am grateful that that's what the change was, that you were able to get out of that bondage of that job and still be able to support your family, but by doing something you were meant to do.
Yeah. I mean, so I was in a bad place. Like, I tried to do my best. You know what I'm saying? To work hard and still put in doing the podcast. I was getting more consistent. I was creating more music and just getting it out there more, and you know, working daily to try to make this thing of some type of full time income and be able to get paid off of it. But it, you know, it's kind of, it didn't look possible at all. You know, we had a number that I was making every week or every other week or whatever at my job, and I was trying to make the podcast and the music and the graphic art websites on the side take over that number, and then you feel like it'd be a smooth transition. If I got that number to meet that one, it would just replace it. But really, that wasn't anywhere close to that whenever I got let go from the job. So as a father, as a husband, like coming home, I had a peace about it. At the same time, when I got let go, I got home and told her, you know, and I figured she would panic, freak out. I mean, we've all done it, you know what I'm saying? But she had a peace, and she took it as a sign and said, maybe this is God kind of pushing us out there to go ahead and try it one time, at least. You know, you don't want to be 60 years old, 70 years old and say, man, I wish I would have went for it. Wish I would have gave it my all, right?
Yeah, because you never, ever would have left your job. I don't feel like if those numbers didn't match. I don't feel like you ever would have done that on your own, that you kind of had to be pushed out of the nest, so to speak.
Yeah, and that's the thing with anything like in life, people they want that smooth transition, right? I mean, that's what we want. I mean, even with like having a kid, bringing a kid into this world, people are like, well, I'm gonna try to get financially stable first so I could bring a kid in. It won't be. It's like you're like usually never ready for that transition, because then I mean, where would the faith come in? Where would the testing and the hardships and stuff come in if you were just approaching it all with ease and grace and just knowing where everything was going to come from? There would be no faith in that. There would be no testing and trial. So when it comes to having a kid, like you're never financially ready, or it comes to pursuing your goals, or like all of the big people who have huge success stories about starting their own business or pursuing their dreams full time, like they all talk about, you know, the sleeping in the car and going without eating and stuff. And I think I was prepared to do without a lot, you know, and stuff, making that transition, not being homeless or anything, but we really haven't done without, you know, of looking at the money and just trying to replace stuff or money I was spending, gas money to get to work, you know, paying for a car note to pay for the gas to get to work, and all that stuff starts, you know, getting in, and then lunch every day and eating out on the road. Like that was a lot of money just to sustain me at work. And so like I was able to take that money off the top, and just all of these little ways where we could like save money and cut corners and stuff. And it's working 1 year into it, and I'm excited about it. And so yeah.
Yeah, I'm so thankful. We haven't even been, we're not past due on any bills. We're not doing without. We're living a blessed, very fulfilled life. And I know that I know it was meant to be. I felt like it was meant to be right when it happened. I didn't panic at all.
I was looking for her to panic. Because like in times past, years past, she's panicked. She's the one, like I go out and do the work. She works too, but I'll go out, bring the paycheck home, give it to her. She balances the bills. I don't have to see the numbers. I don't have to crunch numbers and know where this bill's getting paid. So it's a lot easier for me just to kind of go with the flow. And then she's the one that looks at the numbers. So she would be the first one to kind of panic and say, hey, we got these bills we can't pay. And then being released from jobs in the past or and stuff like that. Like the first thing you do is panic. But then I guess after it happening a couple times in the past, and being the people of faith, like you understand that God got you no matter what, all that panicking was for nothing, all that stress and stuff was for naught. We didn't have to panic because always, man, at like that 11:45 hour, man, right before the clock strikes 12, God always came through, whether it was an unexpected check in the mail or somebody said, hey, God told me to give you this money, I don't know why, or whatever, or getting another job. I remember like getting in trouble on a job for letting an inmate use my cell phone, and they gave me a 2-week suspension, and that was 2 weeks worth of pay that I was gonna lose. I ended up working, and we was freaking out. How are we gonna make this money come in? And this was early in our marriage too. And I remember going to work with a friend for one day. After all that freaking out and panicking, working with a friend for one day and made more money that I would have made 2 weeks. I made it in one day with a friend. It's like, man, why were we panicking? And then on top of that, like something else happened and ended up going to a talent show that we didn't want to be in, and you had to pay to get in. And like, I didn't want to go to a talent show because you can like win money and stuff. And I was like, this is kind of like a ministry. It's not really. I'm not trying to win money doing it, but something happened and you're supposed to pay money to get in it. But somebody dropped out and we just want you to come perform, and you don't even have to pay us the money up front. Just show up. Showed up. We ended up winning like $500 just coming there performing, doing what we love to do. And it's little things like that. Once you reach a mode where you panic, you feel that panic set in. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? You never see the godly forsaken. You'll never see the godly begging for bread. Like God always meets you when it may not be how you want it to happen, but He always comes through. And going through those testings and trials and learning that, we've been able to kind of give that wisdom to other people. I mean, that's my song and dance on here, being able to share that with people. Don't panic, whatever you do. And we've had friends go through similar situations. People just buying a house, and then the week later they get let go from their job, and they're just, oh my God, I don't know what we're gonna do. It's like, stay calm, don't panic. I don't know what's gonna happen, but God got you. You're a person of faith, and every time that bill shows up, that check shows up, unexpected check that they weren't expecting. So I mean, we got stories upon stories. I remember pulling out my cell phone just a couple weeks ago, writing down, because we could just go in our memory and pull them out, all these things we've seen God do over the years, miracles and healings and supernatural encounters. And so I wanted to just write them all down. So I pulled out my cell phone and just started writing all these miracles down, and it adds up. And if you got to learn from it, right? You learn not to panic, or you learn who your God is, and He's got you, type deal, right?
And a big difference this time why I didn't panic was because, like I said, a few months before it happened, I had gotten in the practice of listening. It's really important when you talk to God and talk to the Creator that you listen and that you try to perceive the message that He's trying to give you. And just trying to be more intuitive and more in tune to the Spirit. A few months before it happened, I felt for sure that God was telling me something was going to happen to us financially, that both of us should amp up our side businesses, which I'm a distributor of essential oils, and he had his music, podcast, website building, all of that. And we even sat down and talked about it, and I said, look, I don't know what's going to happen, but I know something big is going to happen, and it's going to be hard, but we both need to put in as much of our free time into our extra business ventures as we can to try to prepare for what's coming. And so when it happened, it wasn't a shock or a surprise to me, because I felt like a few months before God had told me something was going to happen, and kind of allowed us to prepare for it in a way that it wouldn't be so scary when it did happen.
You got to tap into the spirit.
For sure.
You just, we talk about, being children of God. The Bible says that those who are led by the Spirit of God are the sons and daughters of God. You have to be led by the Spirit. It's a faith thing, but it's an inward relationship. It's a knowing thing to be able to know the hope of your calling and your salvation as well, and essentially be secure with it and be faithful with the few. He'll make you ruler over more, and that's a universal principle with everything. Hard work pays off, dedication pays off, sticking with it even when you don't want to do it. I mean, there's been interviews and stuff that I didn't want to do, or she's talking about putting off recreational stuff to write the SEO for a show or create the images and stuff that take sometimes a lot of time. Sometimes I'll spend hours creating those thumbnails or whatever, and because I think it's worth it. Like I believe in my vision. I believe in the things God has entrusted to me, and you should too. The things that God has given to you, you have to invest in it. No matter what it is, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. So whatever you're spending your money on, whatever you're spending your time on, those are the things that you really believe in. And instead of Netflixing it up or gaming it up or doing all the leisure stuff, which is fun, but you gotta grind too. You gotta make something happen and get creative and be consistent. And I guarantee you, if you pick that one niche or that one MLM, whatever it is, and you stick with it, it's going to pay off in the end. Like we was talking about, she's doing the essential oils and how much she loves that and studying that. There's other avenues, and other people try to get her to join other MLMs. They have, things that they're selling and facial products and health products and stuff that could work. You could easily jump in that boat and take off and start selling it. But it would kind of undo everything you've done with your essential oils and your clients and your collection and stuff like that. You kind of undo everything. So she's been consistent with that, and I guess that's a good transition to kind of talk a little bit about your passion with the essential oils, where that started. Maybe would you get into that?
So I've seen my friends talk about it on Facebook and everything for a long time, several years, and I just never could spring for the cost to get started. To get started, you get 11 oils and a diffuser and the whole kit, and you get like the ability to make an income doing it. And it's $160, and that to me was a lot for these little bottles of oils. When I didn't know much about it, I was like, nah, a Glade plug-in is a lot cheaper, So it really, what caused me to take the leap was learning more about natural health and doing things that are good for your body and putting on pure ingredients on and in your body. The second leading cause of death in the country right now is cancer, and only about 10% of those, I believe, is from genetics. That means you have 90% of cancer cases that are caused from environmental factors. And I know a lot of people, it's so hard to know what's in your food and in your products these days, that when my friend started telling me more about Young Living and their products, they really take pride in being as organic and natural as possible. They don't even treat their plants with pesticides. They use essential oils to keep the bugs off their plants in the fields. So that's how I got started, is just learning about how pure they are and all the different amazing things you can do with them. So that's how I got into it. And it's transitioned from just like aromatic oils to kind of influence your emotions and support you emotionally, to putting it on topically. You can put them on for cuts and scrapes, for bruises, take them internally. You can make little capsules and take them internally to help support your digestive system, to support appetite control. Just anything you can think of, there is an essential oil that will work for that. And if you use the really, really pure ones, it's amazing the difference you can see.
It's good stuff. I love it too. And just studying aromatherapy and just different smells and different colors and lighting and things like that. All of that stuff plays a part on your psyche and the way that you feel. So being able to smell those beautiful aromas from, those natural products, it's awesome. It makes you feel good when you smell them. And there's so many different health benefits in the way that it affects you. It's really weird right now, like about what you can actually say because of the FDA, like, because they own those medical terms. Like if we talk about the flu or we talk about the virus, they own those terms. You can't say that it helps with the flu publicly because you're giving medical advice on words and terms that they've created. So they've kind of like tried to corner the market when it comes to your health and stuff. Really insane. They'll try to sue you and send you cease and desist and stuff like that. So you got to be really careful talking about this stuff. But it's just, if you really believe in it, you got to find creative ways and outlets to get it out. I think it's, they're trying to control the narrative on everything. I mean, we look at the adpocalypse. We look at Alex Jones being pulled. I mean, my stuff was pulled a long time ago, and I'm trying to rebuild after that. Like, they want to control what you say and who you offend and all kinds of stuff, and want you to walk on eggshells that most people won't talk about this stuff that is good for you, that you believe in, because you're scared of what's going to happen to your monetization or to your platform. You can get pulled off of Facebook, off of YouTube, and not even give a reason why. They say that you broke the community guidelines, and they'll send you a 10-page website with just writing, and you broke something within this guideline. That's all they'll tell you. It's insane. So it makes people not even want to talk about it, or I could see why a lot of people may even want to jump ship and find a new MLM, because they can't, something that they love, but if they use the wrong terminology or say the wrong thing, they're going to cut their head off, essentially.
Yeah, like, I think that's why it took me so long to even try essential oils, because all I knew is, you can put in the diffuser and it smells good. Like, I didn't know what all it would really do for your body. And a lot, like you said, I can't tell you what all I use it for and what it does for my body, because the FDA could come and get me and put me in jail saying that I put myself in the place of a doctor by diagnosing and treating diseases. And they could cause me to delete my Facebook page, my website, every form of media I put out. And so I do my best to stay compliant. But my biggest mission statement with my business was to help people, by using my essential oils, to help people to live a healthier and more natural lifestyle. So I do the very best I can with, the abilities they give me.
I want to hear your side of the stories. I'm trying to pick, like, there's a couple monumental things that happened to me, and if it happened to me, it happened to you. We're on this journey together. We've been together since I was 14. I'm 34. You do the math. A lot of stuff we've been in and out of. Witchcraft, like, you've seen me go almost insane as a teenager, making pacts and covenants with demons. We gave our lives to Christ and got born again together. Went through the church thing together. Came out of that, got more into the spirituality and the UFO stuff. And you've been, like, it's always been me, like, pioneering where God is leading me in whatever area we're in. And not many people have heard your side of the story, and none of it definitely hasn't been an easy transition. None of that has been easy for me, and I know it hasn't been easy for you. The UFO stuff, all of that, like, any of that you want to give commentary on about some background information or what it was like transitioning? Maybe just start from the beginning and kind of run through it or something?
I really don't even know where to start, but
I know,
I'll
right?
try my best.
So much.
So everything that TruthSeekah does, he does to the extreme, right? You guys probably know him by now. So whenever he started his journey to awakening and studying UFOs and all these different new topics, I'm I'm pretty stable. Like, I kind of find a happy medium, and that's usually where I stay. And I test the spirits for myself. Like, he can tell me what he's learning, but until the Creator, like, tells me himself and touches my heart, it's not going to really, the magic's not there for me. So he did a lot of study and a lot of back and forth on things, because he would find this awesome awakening and this awesome truth, and then he would have the opposition of like Christians and the church, which is, these are weird terms to use, but it's the best thing I know. And so he longed for that sense of community from the people that were there for us when we were just little baby Christians. But then at the same time, he felt God leading him into all of these truths and these amazing deep things. So he would find this truth, and then he would run and burn everything. Like, he would take everything out of the house, all the books, t-shirts, CDs, everything that had anything to do with this truth, and burn it, and or throw it in the trash. And so, but then of course it was God calling him. It wasn't him, and it wasn't evil in any way. So he would, once he came back down and started going into the truth again, he'd like buy all the same stuff, the same books, same books he burnt last week. He'd buy them again this week, because that's really the path God had him on. But he, in a way, he was fighting it for the approval of man. Honestly, it's hard when you don't have a community, and it's hard when you feel like people don't believe in you because you're crazy or whatever. So the back and forth happened a lot. I kind of got into practice where if I would see things missing on the shelves or in the bedroom, I would go look in the trash and get them out and hide them somewhere. And then when he came back down, I'd be like, okay, baby, here's all your stuff. I saved it from the trash. But
even like, I was talking about like learning. You learn from things, repetition, learning how God acts and your struggle and stuff. You learn whenever you feel that need to get rid of everything. You learn, and I learned too. Like, sometimes you still feel those feelings. Sometimes you still want to do those things at times. And you got to understand. You got to learn and understand. Okay, why am I feeling this way? Is it because this is demonic? If it is, let's get rid of everything demonic. And if that, or is it something else that's getting in the way of your relationship with God, or whatever the case is, and you need to examine that, because you're going to keep repeating the cycles over and over, and you'll be like a dog chasing their tail. It wasn't just me. All of my friends have done it. Most of the messages I get from people who enjoy this podcast and what I bring to the table here, they have done it. And so, it's
a struggle. And sometimes God will have you go and get things out of your house and burn them and throw them away. I'm not saying that's bad at all. I'm just saying in this one instance, it was a struggle between wanting the approval of your peers and actually following the path that God had for you. So this is a little different. I'm not saying that that's evil in itself. And then, once he finally found his stability, he found his place, knowing that he was living his purpose.
However many years that took.
Yeah, it took a long time.
It wasn't just a month or two ordeal. Like, that was a journey that took.
I would say that's the hardest time
4 years
for me, because I couldn't stand to see you struggle and almost like self-hate because these other people were putting this stuff on you, and that was really hard for me. But I'm very thankful that you've found your place now, and that you're doing the right thing, and that this is the path God has you on, because you're seeing so much fruit from it. And that's kind of how I measure everything, is by its fruit. Like, don't tell me, show me. Show me what a difference it's made in your life or someone else's life. And that's how I judge if it's good or not. So, but anyway, now that you're on your path and you've learned so much about UFOs and psilocybin, some of these topics still, like, I'm not there yet. I don't feel like I'm missing something that needs to be plugged in that area of knowledge. So, for me, if I think about something and it causes me fear or panic or worry, I just try to put it aside, because I feel like whenever God tells me about it or leads me into studying that, then I won't have those negative feelings about it anymore.
Well, what about when I went off on the trip and did the first psilocybin encounter? For me, it was phenomenal, life-changing, really meant a lot. Got a lot of healing from it. Even on the first one, a lot of vision about about this and about what I'm supposed to be doing in the future. And this was, man, I know it had to be 4 years ago, if not more. When I came home, I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want to make you mad that I was out having a mushroom encounter. But I told you anyway, and you kind of lit into me. But if you want to talk about that, just because of our past and drugs and what we LSD and stuff like that, like, I mean, that's kind of what you thought, just tripping or something. I don't know.
Like I didn't know anything about psilocybin, how it can treat depression, and there's a lot of good things about it, but the thing that hurt me was I felt like you had been dishonest with me and went off with your buddies and did this trip thing, and you were different when you came home, and it wasn't a bad kind of different. So yeah, I was really upset at first because I felt like you hadn't been fully honest with me. But after I just tried to see how you acted and making sure you're not like this drug addict now and wanting to go every weekend and party and forget your family. None of that happened. So it was all good things. You came home with like a purpose in mind and a vision for it, and I really only saw good things from it. So while it's still not for me, like I'm not there yet, but I could see good things happening in your life from it. So that's kind of what caused me to stop being so upset about it.
The fruit of it.
Mm-hmm.
So now that, we're into spirituality and understanding aliens or whatever I'm into or whatever you're into, or just really more in touch with nature as well, seeing God in nature, seeing God in everything, where for you personally, spirituality, where does Christ come in? Where does Jesus fit in? Have we outgrown Jesus? Is he still there? Do you pray to him? What is your relationship with Jesus now that we kind of started out in the Christian church and now we're best friends with psychics and healers and things like that and people in nature and stuff? Like, where does Jesus fit into that for you?
I'm almost hesitant to even say anything because I was so bound up for so long over some of this, who do you pray to and all that. But I'll tell you what I do. I pray to my Creator, God. I feel like he created me. I love him so much. He's blessed me with my family. He helps me through hard times. And so I pray to my Creator. And I believe that Jesus was divine. I pray in Jesus' name sometimes. I love to read about stories of Jesus healing people and what he did in the Bible and the message that he showed us through his life, how to live, how to love people. It doesn't seem like there was any hate or negativity in him until he saw other people being exploited and abused. And so for me, Jesus is an awesome example of how we should be in this life, to just love people, to love nature, to pray to God, to thank God for everything he's blessed us with, to ask him to help us when we feel like we're down and we need another leg up. I still love Jesus, and I'm very grateful that he came and lived as an example and even died to show his love for other people, and I fully accept that still. But I mean, I fully believe in psychics, if you want to call it that, and intuitive knowledge and crystal healing and natural herbal healing, and I really believe that that's how we're supposed to live. And yeah, I think that's how Jesus lived too when he was here.
Yeah, it goes beyond just like from, I guess, coming from evangelical Christianity, where I was an evangelist for 10 years. We're told all you have to do is just say you love Jesus or ask him into your heart, and then it's kind of done or whatever. No, it is finished, like Jesus said. That's what they preach, But it goes beyond that now. Now I think the Christ consciousness or whatever is more real, to walk in the same consciousness that Jesus walked in, and trying to be like him, follow the example, versus just like, I'm saved or I'm a Christian, I can do whatever I want. it's a little bit more in depth now that you're able to study spirituality and how Jesus was a spiritual person and why he disappeared for hours on end in prayer and meditation and things like that, and his community and things like that. You just learn from it all and follow his example, versus just saying, yes, I'm a Christian, I believe, or whatever the case is. It's kind of transformed into something a little bit more, right?
Yeah, I think to say all you have to do is ask Jesus into your heart, I think that's a cop-out. Like, it shouldn't be just this one phrase in the English language that you say and then poof, everything's okay. Like, you really should practice Christ consciousness and try to live how he lived and treat people how he treated people. So,
if anybody has any questions for Arien Spirit Wolf, leave them in the comment section on either on Facebook or YouTube, and I'll try to ask her those questions if anybody wants to know anything. But yeah, we've been doing this for a year now, like full time or whatever. People only usually see what we show them. You know what I'm saying? They only see us when we go live. Some people, that's all they know. They don't know, like, I've been podcasting since 2011, or, we've been researching, or, this goes back to freaking 1997, 1998, getting into occultism or Satanism and Wicca and studying all that stuff. And then, so now we're in kind of realms where some people are into that, and they don't know that they don't know that you've studied, they don't know that you've been there, they don't know that you used to do this or do that. People don't notice that, what I'm saying, the sleepless nights, and they make judgments and assumptions based upon what you show them, what they're able to see. So it's kind of crazy. Let me see what this question says. Jonathan Santiago says, TruthSeekah, how did you guys manage in the start when you first got laid off, money-wise, trust-wise, etc., if you guys don't mind? I started doing the math, like I said a while ago. It was just seeing how much money I was spending at work. Like, I needed coffees to keep me awake. I would snack. I would eat out. Like, I started eating out like crazy. I'd eat out for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or at least breakfast and lunch. And adding that up throughout the week, like, that's a decent chunk. And then the gas money that I was driving, 45 minutes to and from work every day, adding all that stuff up, and that's a big chunk that I could take off of what I need to survive and what I need to live, or whatever the case is. So I started to try to, like, just do the math on ways we can make it work. I was making money off my music, but I may buy frivolous stuff. I would maybe buy a basketball jersey or new shoes, or go out to eat, like spend that money that I was making off my music, because it never was a big chunk per month. It trickles in. You get a little payment here, a little payment here, a little payment here. And I'd say, okay, let's go out to eat. Okay, I'm eating out on this by myself without them even knowing while I'm working, spending this money. So it's like, you know what? Now that we're going to have to kind of penny pinch, let's see if I that money that comes through, I can pay my cell phone bill, I can pay the light bill, I can pay this, instead of just spending it away, and like making good use of the money, and being more conscientious of it. So and less waste. So that came early on, and we're doing great, man. Like, we're doing great. We've never, like, God is good, man. You know what I'm saying? And it is a step of faith, though. It is, you have to trust. It's all about trust, right? Trust in the Creator, trust in the Father, and not panicking. If you panic and freak out and you're trying to, oh my God, how are we gonna make this work? Just go with it, man. And so if it's calling you, like, if God called you to it, he'll brought you to it, he'll bring you through it. He gives you the vision, he'll give you the provision. The whole thing about it is the timing. When do you do it? Everybody wants to do ministry full time. Everybody wants to be a full-time rapper, full-time photographer, full-time podcaster. But it's like, when do you do it? So you have to use wisdom with it, but you have to walk in faith. I got friends who are rappers who make 0 income per month, and they're getting ready to go full time. Well, in their head, they're just like, They're not promoting. They're not buying ad revenue. They're not selling albums. But they see me go full time, so they say, you know what? I'm gonna do it. But you got to at least try to make the transition easier if that's your vision. You have to do something today, and I talk about this all the time on the podcast. What you're trying to bring into fruition for tomorrow, you got to do something today. You got to take that seed. First, you got to go to the hard ground, till it up, get the ground ready, put the seed in, cover it up, water it, let the sun, make sure the sun's hitting it when it starts growing. Cultivate it, pull the weeds out. That's a daily thing. And so I believe you have to do something today that you want to manifest tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And like I talk about, that seed may be commissioning somebody to make you a logo. That seed may be a website. That seed may be sending an email. But you can't just sit back and just have this awesome dream, and not have goals and not have really practical ways to try to make it happen. And money's a part of it, and frivolous money. And if you're splurging, maybe cut back. Like, what's worth more than you? That really nice house or the job? Would you give up your job and move into a smaller house, maybe a mobile home with lower payments, so that you can be a full-time photographer, so that you can be a full-time rapper, whatever the case is? And so you can't, definitely starting out, you can't have your cake and eat it too. I mean, we've seen this. That was something we learned from our own stuff, but then watching other people. The example I'm talking about, like when you started, when we had Nevaeh, and other people were having babies at the same time. Do you know? If you want to give that example.
I don't know.
You don't know?
Mm-mm.
Well, Arien was staying home.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. So I made a really hard choice. I say that I made the choice, but again, even so long ago when Nevaeh was born, I would pray and ask God to open doors for me and to show me guidance and give me peace. And we had paid a deposit for daycare. Like, I fully intended on going back to work as soon as Nevaeh was born, and I was able to. But I felt like God would not allow me to do that, that I was supposed to stay home with her. So we just forfeited our daycare deposit. I turned in my notice and quit my job. And it was hard to do, but I had to follow where God was leading me. And so I did apply for some assistance, and we got very little assistance because I refused to lie on the forms. And honestly, the government does not help you that much if you're honest. Yeah. But anyways, we were able to make ends meet. We, like he said, we cut corners anywhere we could. We've never had cable ever. That's not a necessity. I'm sorry, it's not. Internet's not really a necessity unless you do something like this for a living where you have to have it. I mean, most people have it on their phones. There are things and ways that you can cut corners. So we did. We cut corners every way that we could. I stayed home with her. I was very blessed. And I caught so much backlash from people for staying home with my baby because I asked for government assistance. And, I mean, I don't like people to not like me or to think of me in a negative way, but I didn't care. I was doing what God wanted me to do, and those years I had at home with my child, I would not trade any amount of money or fame or anything for it. Like, those moments were so precious, and I'm thankful that God allowed that to happen in my life. But other people were so bitter. Like, they maybe had a huge house with a huge note, a brand new car lease.
They
every
get
6
their nails
months,
and hair done like every week.
Nails and hair done. I'm not even wearing makeup. I'm a very low maintenance person.
And they were saying they wish they could stay home with their kid like you. But you're getting your hair done and your nails done, and you got a really nice car, huge note, and all of this stuff. So you can't. Like, it's prohibiting you. We have kept it simple since from the jump, humble beginnings, and you were able to do it. You know, and people would get mad, or people would be envious or whatever. But you could do it too.
I think anyone can do it if they just tried hard enough.
Whatever.
There's a lot of things. Like you said, it's where you invest your time. That's where your heart is. So I didn't care, about all this superficial stuff or driving a big fancy car or having cable. I wanted to be with my baby. So
I got to run. I want to let Arien finish up some of these questions and just finish up the podcast however long she wants to go. The time is here, how long we've gone. I'm going to go ahead and run. I got somewhere I got to be. Some really good questions coming through for you about your favorite books. This is a good one, the Brother Wayne thing. I know you can talk about how it's hard for me to do Brother Wayne now and stuff. So
Okay.
I got to run. I got a couple things I got to do. I'm going to let Arien finish it up. Once you're done, click that and you'll be done.
All right.
All right. Love you. Bye, guys.
So I guess I really am taking over now. Okay. Let's see if I can read these questions. They look really small. Okay. I may have missed some questions. I don't know. So if I miss you, maybe retype it because I don't know how to do all this. This is not my jam. So it says, TruthSeekah, can you ask Spirit Wolf what is her favorite book and favorite essential oil? My favorite book is probably going to make you laugh. I am a huge Harry Potter nerd. Like, I love Harry Potter. And that's not like awakened or enlightenment at all, but it is definitely an escape and I love it so much. That is probably my favorite book series is Harry Potter. But if you want like a legit awakened answer, a book that made a big difference in my life, one was The Alchemist. That book is an awesome, it's written kind of like a parable, and it's about going out and achieving your dreams and taking risks, and it's really good. And in case you didn't know, you can do your free Audible trial. I think it's audible.com/TruthSeekah. And if you do a free trial, we get a kickback, even though it's free. And you can, I think, get The Alchemist on there and check it out. It's a great book. There's a bug in here. And my favorite essential oil is a blend. It's a Young Living blend, and it's called Peace and Calming. And it's got lavender. It's got, I think it has, I know I'm saying it wrong, but I say ylang ylang, but I know that's wrong. And it's for calming, and it helps me sleep at night when I can't sleep very well. I put it in the diffuser, and it smells wonderful. And honestly, I think I have more awakened dreams when I diffuse it. So that would be my favorite. And its main component is lavender. Lavender is a close second. I put lavender on everything, and I put it in my bath. It's very calming and relaxing. Liliana said, behind an awesome guy, there is a powerful woman. Thank you. We have been a team for a very long time. He's my best friend. It makes me really sad whenever I meet couples who fight a lot because we have disagreements, but we're best buds. Like, we get along really well. So it's really been a great journey together. Yeah, Derek had an appointment he had to get to, so sorry he had to go, and I'm not as good at this. I see a question on Facebook, and it says, what began y'all's awakening? Was it a trauma, premonition, or what? I guess it was just, honestly, the gentle calling of the Holy Spirit for TruthSeekah. Whenever we came to Christ, I had gone to church before, but I never really had experienced anything real or the Holy Spirit. But I had prayed, and I go to church, but it kind of just felt like you were just talking to yourself instead of praying to a living God, you know? And things had gotten really dark for us where he was hearing like demonic speech, and there would be no one talking, but he's hearing voices kind of thing. And he would get really sick and pale, like at the snap of a finger. He would be white and cold and clammy. It was almost like he was dying. And, I didn't know what to do for him, or we were so stoned I couldn't drive him to the hospital. Things got really, really bad, and he felt like he had to come back to Christ or he was going to die. And I really think that we both would have. And so that's what started us into our upward spiral, I would say. It was pretty traumatic for him. And for me, I really rebelled against the idea really hard. But he told me, he says, okay, just pretend and try it my way. And if in 2 weeks our lives aren't 100% better, then I'll go back to doing all these rituals and stuff with you. That's how much faith he had. And our lives were better. They got infinitely better, and there was never any question of turning back. And it's been just an awesome step-by-step awakening and truth learning since then. Someone said, it's awesome to see him have the backing of his wife. That's such a powerful need. Yeah, like I said, he's my best friend, and it made me sad for so many years to see him in a job that, he made good money and it supported our family, but he wasn't even himself anymore. His whole countenance, his face, everything had changed. And I guess when you go for years only getting 2 or 3 hours of sleep every night, like, you probably do get into kind of a zombie-like state. But I knew he wasn't enjoying his time that he was even with us because he was so tired. So, yeah, he's my best friend. Of course, I want to see him prosper, and I love to see all the stories of people who've been touched by his work, and it makes it all worth it. Danny says, do you have a favorite verse from the Bible? Yeah, mine is probably, I think it's Proverbs 3:5, to trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not upon your own understanding. Because I like to understand things, and I like to know exactly, why this is this way and why that's that way. And sometimes God doesn't work that way. Like I said before about him telling me whenever this big change was going to happen in our life, he didn't tell me what was going to happen or exactly when. It was just kind of like a nudge, like, hey, something big is going to happen. You need to be prepared for it. So, I do love that scripture, and it even comes into play almost daily for me. But yeah, you can't lean on your earthly knowledge or what your flesh or your mind understands, because the spirit is different. And yeah. And someone says, I think it says Chris, where does Spirit Wolf come from? Do you have a Native American background? Yes, I do. We are not on a roll or anything, but I do have a strong Cherokee lineage, and I am approximately 1/8 Cherokee from both sides of my family. My grandfather was adopted. He was born on a reservation and adopted by a white family. And because of all the shame that they put on, the Native American race at that time, the adoptive family, of course, changes everything to say that he's white. So, but we can trace it back really far. And yeah, I do feel kind of like a pulling toward that lifestyle. So that's why I picked Spirit Wolf for myself, because I feel like a wolf is my spirit animal. They are very protective. They're very loyal. And I feel like I have a very small pack, like a very small tribe. I don't have millions of friends like some people, but the few that I do have, like, I would defend them with my life. So, and then spirit, I try my best to walk in the spirit and listen to spirit and live my life that way. So I did choose that name for myself, and that's why. Black Panther says, your husband changed my life when I discovered his music, which helped me through some dark times. He called me once after a Facebook post, and we prayed together. Yeah, his music is awesome. He's helped a lot of people find awakening and even learn about new subjects. And I know that his music is definitely ordained for a higher purpose. And even some people who love it, they may even learn about something new and listen to it again and hear things in his lyrics that they'd never even noticed before. So that's kind of cool. TruthSeekah says, you are so beautiful. Thank you, babe. What is some of your favorite music? Take a guess. See if you can guess. I bet you can't. I'll tell you, but I want a couple of guesses first. Danny says, Derek helped me a lot in my awakening last year. I was so depressed, drinking every day. Yeah. We have been through so much, and I feel like a lot of our experience and testimony happened to us so that we could help other people. So I'm really thankful that he's so giving of his time to help people. I see, don't text and drive, Derek. That is great advice. Babe, get off the phone. Put the phone down. Rock music and metal. That's great guesses. So my favorite band of all time is Metallica. I've loved Metallica since I was in high school. Derek took me to see them for my birthday last year. It was my first time to ever see them live in concert, and I just think they keep getting better and better as the years go on. I love Metallica. And another favorite of mine would be the Beatles. I love all of the Beatles music from the very first days to the very last days. They are awesome. And a lot of their music has some really great lyrics too. So, hey Allie. So, we're almost at 1 hour. So I think I should probably shut this down. Does anybody have anything else before we go? So I'm just going to talk for a minute. I just want to tell you guys that you should follow your heart. And by that I mean you should follow whatever you feel like God has given you a passion for in life. Ever since I can remember, since I was a very small child, I've been obsessed with horses. And I've told this story before on Christy Lee's show on Wednesday night. But I've always had a passion for horses. We lived in, a small space. There was not enough room for a horse. No one in my family had horses. But I was so obsessed with them my whole life. And it got to the point where in my adult life, I had Nevaeh. She was small, like maybe 2 years old. And I still had such a passion for horses. And I would just have these amazing dreams and wake up crying at night because I wanted to spend time with horses. So that prompted me to start making some phone calls because I told Derek, like, there's no way this is an accident. Like, I feel ridiculous to wake up crying because I want to be around a horse. There's got to be a higher purpose. So I started making some phone calls, and he actually, on one of his little side jobs, whenever he left a job and went to work at this other job, he found this place that was called Buckaroo Barn, and they had horses and did physical therapy for special needs kids, which both of those are a huge passion of mine. I have a cousin who is special needs, and I've always kind of had a soft spot for that. So I started making phone calls, no experience whatsoever, and I just asked people, hey, do you allow volunteers? I would love to come, like, I'll clean the stables, whatever you want. I want to learn about horses. And that's how I came to my job at Buckaroo Barn, because they said, yeah, we do take volunteers. And I went out there, and it was just a really good fit from day one. And I know that's why God had those dreams in my mind at night, because it drove me to find Buckaroo Barn. And I feel like that is one of my higher purposes in this life, is to help special needs kids and families, and I get to be around horses at the same time. So it's really awesome. I love it. I love my job. I would do it for free, and now I get paid to do it. So it's an extra blessing. And I've been able to help with a nonprofit to give back too, to help the families pay their medical bills, because I'm sure all of you guys know what a burden that can be. And with a special needs child, those burdens never go away. They always have medical visits. So Allie said, you need to do this more. I don't feel like I have that much to say. Like, I'll talk whenever I can. Adam says, what is your website? My website is spiritwolfliving.com. And it's not actually like a site I created. It's a link to purchase essential oils through me. And so I'll just plug that again. If anyone is interested in essential oils, if you want to learn more, you can message me on Facebook, facebook.com/ARIENG. And I'd be happy to talk to you about it. But if you just want to purchase or even sign up for a kit, you can get on there and go to spiritwolfliving.com. Oh, yeah. Truth says I was supposed to talk about Brother Wayne. Yeah. Brother Wayne's gone. I'm sorry. He's just gone. He's not here anymore. It was funny because when TruthSeekah was working that job, driving sometimes 19 hours a day, he would come home so tired, and you stay up for 2 days and your voice is like all froggy and scratchy, and so he would come home and just be in a silly mood because he's loopy from a lack of sleep, and do these Brother Wayne videos, and the voice sounded like just somebody else. It was so convincing. Well, I feel like ever since he started doing this full time, he loves it so much, and he's really living in his purpose. The voice is gone. He's too happy. He's too happy to get into that spirit of that bitter old, church hurt, but still a pastor, weird personality that he had for Brother Wayne. He's different. He's this scruffy old bitter Brother Wayne anymore. Brother Alan says, Brother Wayne helped me learn who I really am. So happy to hear that, Alan. Brother Wayne does take donations at his church down in Shreveport. You ought to send him one. I know he would love it. Share your oily testimonies and tell us about scripture and essential oils. So I did have a scripture pulled up that I wanted to read, so I will read it. It's Ezekiel 47:12. Fruit trees of all kinds will grow on both banks of the river. Their leaves will not wither, nor will their fruit fail. Every month they will bear fruit because of the water from the sanctuary flows to them. Their fruit will serve for food and their leaves for healing. So I like that scripture because it's pretty blatant that you are supposed to use plants for healing purposes. I probably shouldn't say that because I don't think the FDA likes it. But if you're going to use essential oils on or in your body, you need to make sure they are very, very pure, the purest distillation possible. Because it takes a lot of square footage of plants to make one little bottle of essential oils. So if those plants have pesticides on them, all of those plants with those pesticides are in this little bottle. So using a concentrated essential oil can be just as bad for you as it can be good for you if you're not using the right stuff. So make sure, whatever company you buy from, that it is very pure. That's why I like Young Living, because they have a seed to seal guarantee, and they monitor everything so carefully. They invite their people to come out and see the farm, to plant plants, to see the processes. Like, they're very open about what goes on at their farms. And another thing I love is that if a plant is being harvested too much, that the plant is in danger of not reproducing at a high enough rate, they'll stop. Like, they don't care about profits more than they do the environment. So they monitor everything very carefully, and they do care about the world and the environment and their impact on it. So my oily testimonies, I have anxiety issues sometimes, and that oil, Peace and Calming, that's my favorite. I keep it in the car, and I like to put it on right here behind my ears and on my wrists whenever I'm going to large crowds or events. I'm finding that I don't need it so much anymore, and that's a good thing. But I have lots and lots of oily testimonies. It's just really hard to share in a way that I can legally. But if you have any questions, you can message me on my Facebook page. I'd be happy to talk about it. Like Thieves, I can say about Thieves, that is one of my favorites too. That's our back to school oil. We use it on our feet at night, and we put it in the diffuser. Because, when all the kids go back to school, they start sharing supplies, sharing books. They share other things that are not so great, and they bring it home to your house. So we use Thieves to support our immune system, and it works. Someone said the FDA is only concerned with keeping Big Pharma fat. That is true. It's funny how many companies and how many different places only care about money. Like even insurance companies, they really only care about money. They don't care about helping people. Because I work in the medical field, I can see it a lot now. Vetiver oil is very calming as well. Yes, I know a lot of people who use vetiver to help them get to sleep at night. Someone said, are there Sasquatch sightings in your area? I haven't seen any. I haven't heard of anyone seeing any, but I know when my daughter was little, she used to go out and make little circles out of bricks and rocks and try to build Bigfoot traps. So she may have seen some, because she really legit tried hard to catch Bigfoot when she was little. So Allie, I'm really excited to try all the products you gave me yesterday, because I am trying to go to a more natural way. Everything you put on your body gets absorbed into your body. So if you use shampoo that has chemicals in it, sulfates, parabens, all that garbage, it's going to get absorbed into your scalp and your skin. Same for lotion, same for makeup, same for moisturizer, sunscreen. Everything you put on your body, it's going to absorb into your body into some way, shape, or form. So anything that's natural without chemicals in it, organic is better. You should go that route. I've actually had a few friends, 2 friends, that were diagnosed with breast cancer in the last, it's probably been almost 2 years now since their diagnosis. But they both found their breast cancer right in their armpit, like right where you would put your deodorant. And they both used deodorant with aluminum and parabens in it. So you just have to be really careful what you put on your body, because it gets absorbed into your body. Especially deodorant, because it stops you from sweating, and sweating is one way your body gets impurities out. So you don't want to block all of those sweat glands and keep all of that impure things inside of your body. You want them to come out. Let me go back to the Facebook chat. Someone said, where are y'all from? TruthSeekah is originally from the New Orleans area. I'm from here, Mobile, Alabama area. And we both live in Lower Alabama now. Jordan Vieira says, I love The Alchemist. Yeah, The Alchemist is a great book. Someone said, she is right. You should speak your truth more. I started last year just doing videos and speaking my truth a little bit. And then I did a little short video on it recently, but I felt like I was under attack from another person. They said some things that hurt me. And so I didn't really want to be seen on video or on Facebook or even in person. Like, I really just retreated from who I wanted to be. But I think I'm back on track now. It was a hard blow. It took me a long time to get over it, but I'm over it now. So you guys will probably be seeing more of me. Hey, Drew is watching on Facebook. Hey, Drew, we love you guys too. Hope to see y'all soon. What shampoo and conditioner do you use? I don't wash my hair very much, but when I do, I try to find the most natural shampoo that I can afford. So right now, I'm using Not Your Mother's brand, which is probably not the best brand, but I know they don't have sulfates and parabens in it, and you can get it at, like Walmart or Walgreens. So that's what I use right now. Brother Allen says, down with the haters. That's right. Everybody has haters. But haters are just haters, so you gotta let them go. Someone says, Aaron, have you experienced any of the stuff he talks about in the podcast, i.e. aliens or angels, etc.? Yes, I have experienced angels. Aliens, not so much. I mean, I've seen lots of things in the skies. I don't really think that UFOs are little green men driving ships. I don't know. Some people think they are, but I don't dwell on that. But I do know that I've experienced angels intervening for me, and I feel like, did you know that you can pray and invoke God's angels to come around and protect you? I do that a lot. And so, like, if there's a car accident on my path to work, and I've prayed for God's angels to protect me, and the car won't start, or, any number of things can happen I'm late leaving the house by 15 minutes, which causes me to miss this area at this time. That's happened to me a lot, and I believe that's angels intervening in my life to keep me out of harm's way. When my sister and I were growing up, we went on a trip to the Grand Canyon with my family, and she almost fell in the Grand Canyon. And she says that these little birds came and grew a root, like instantly grew a root out of the side of the rock, and her foot hit the root, and that's how she was able to not keep slipping and falling down into the Grand Canyon. And I believe that was angels intervening on her behalf. So, yes, I've had encounters with angels, not in the form of like a person standing in front of me, but I do believe that they are there and they protect me and they have my best interests at heart. So I guess I'm going to end it now. Oh, one more question. Did you ever join TruthSeekah on one of his sacred mushroom ceremonies? No, I have not. I'm not saying never, but not until my Creator tells me to go for it. I feel very connected to nature. I feel very connected to my family. I don't have negative feelings all the time. I don't really feel like there's a whole lot of things missing from my perspective. I work with special needs children who have the greatest attitude in the world, and it's hard to have a negative point of view on anything after working with them. So I don't know. If I felt like something was missing and my Creator was pushing me towards that, I would try it, but never just on my own would I say, hey, let me just see how this is. Because I really feel like if it's not broke, don't fix it kind of thing. All right, guys. Well, we're an hour and 15 minutes in, so I guess I'm going to go. Thank you guys for putting up with me. I'm not as good at this as TruthSeekah is, but I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that some of the things you heard will help you to stay in tune with the Spirit, because the Spirit's always talking. You just have to quiet yourself, quiet your mind, quiet your body, and listen. And I'm so thankful that I was in a place where I was listening when he was warning me about what was to come with TruthSeekah's job. Because I am totally the type that would just panic and go off the rails. But it wasn't a surprise. There's nothing to panic about. Like, I knew it was coming, so yeah, I fully supported him to go for it when he lost his secure, stable job or whatever. But thanks for putting up with me. If you have any questions or if you want to know more about essential oils, you can message me on Facebook. So, yeah, I enjoyed it. I'll see you guys on the other side.